Hey guys, it's Michael and I'm back on YouTube. It's been forever since I posted a video. I took a very long break, but this time, I plan to post a wide range of videos about my personal life, about different opportunities, some motivation that I plan to share. So definitely stay tuned. It's about to get really interesting. But as you can tell, based on the title of this video, it's not going to be one of those easygoing videos. Obviously, it's a heavy topic. Addiction in general is a heavy thing, is very difficult to deal with, and almost every person in one way or another deals with it in their life to some extent. Now, some people may assume that because if you follow me on my Instagram or Facebook and different social media, you can see that I have cars and I'm living good, and I got my Pomeranian dogs, and I spend all day at home, working from home, working out, and so everything is good right now, and I'm very happy, and I'm very thankful. So, but you may assume that I always had it easy, or that maybe I inherited some money, and you never know about what people actually went through to get to where they are. And in my case, if you look back all the way before I even started on YouTube, and I started in 2012, so around 2010, while I was working different jobs like moving furniture, customer service, delivery, any job I could get my hands on, basically. So, and I lived, from month to month, not really saving money, paying rent, and when you're paying rent and you're living kind of broke, it's enough that your car breaks down and that you kind of are in debt. So it's really difficult, and many people can relate to it. It's a difficult life, and but you still have to continue. And even though it seems like a downward spiral in which you just can't escape it, you got to continue. And what happened to me in my case, I was already smoking a lot of weed, and I was kind of not really taking my life seriously in many aspects. Some people, they smoke weed and they take their life seriously. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing necessarily. For me, it was. And what happened was that at some point I decided to try OxyCodone. I had all kinds of bad influences, bad friends, and as soon as I tried it, it's an opiate and narcotic, and it's one of the strongest ones. They give it to cancer patients, to terminally ill patients who are on their deathbed, and it's definitely not recommended. Now, and some people, they get injured, and the doctor prescribes it, and they innocently become addicted to it. It's a big epidemic, and you might have heard of it, in the news. They talk a lot about it. But basically, I did it voluntarily, so there's no excuse for it. But and what happened was that my tolerance built up and built up to the point in which I was taking over 100 milligrams a day of OxyCodone, which is, if you are familiar with it, it's quite a lot. It's like taking a couple of shots maybe of heroin. It's pretty bad. It's kind of like synthetic heroin, and it's as close as it gets. I mean, there are some other things like Percocets, Vicodin, but OxyCodone is pure, and it's really terrible, because it feels so good. And some people say it's like an orgasm, but I actually believe it's better, or it's different. And it just, when you're on it, you don't even feel like having sex. You don't care about anything. I mean, if the choice is to buy pills, OxyCodone pills, or to buy food, then obviously you're gonna buy the pills. So it's that bad. And that's what happened to me, and I was almost homeless at some point, because I felt like, there's no meaning in life. I'm just living month to month, barely even able to pay my debt and my bills. And that's not an excuse, right? But this is just how my life was and how I perceived it back then. And and at some point I decided, I gotta quit, because I was always a conscious person who's aware of what he's doing, and I was shocked with where my life, where I was heading, and I was like, how did I even get here to this position? So I decided to go cold turkey, which many doctors don't recommend, in which you just stop completely. So from 100 milligrams all the way down to zero. and it was hell. It was really like as close as it gets to hell on earth. It's the worst feeling, and it's hard to relate it to people around you while you're going through it. Many people they go to facilities, they go to the hospital, but I decided to do it on my own, and it was, first in the first days you don't sleep at all, so you slowly deteriorate, and also you have muscle spasm all over your body, so your muscles are, you can't even rest your hand on the bed if it feels like it's too heavy, even if you're just resting, and you feel cold, you feel hot, you have all the different flu symptoms, times 10 maybe, times 100, I don't know even how to describe it. It's that terrible, and plus you're going through depression and anxiety and panic, and you feel like you're dying, literally and metaphorically speaking. I mean, the addiction is dying within you, so it's a feeling in which you're just crying and asking to maybe even die, because it hurts that much. And many people, they take a pill just to feel better again, to feel normal, because they can't cope with the process, because it takes forever, it takes weeks until you even get to the point in which you can sleep again like a normal person. So about 4 to 5 weeks until you resume, I want to say like a normal state, but still it takes about a full year, more or less, depends, every person is different, until you fully recover and become a sane, normal person with your endorphins and dopamine and your brain chemistry back to normal. So it's a long, long process, and it's very draining, and you gotta really persevere. And in my case, thankfully, I was able to push through, even though it felt like it was endless and it's just like time is not moving. And but you got to do it, because what's the alternative? You're gonna die. You're gonna be addicted forever. You're not gonna do anything with your life. I mean, there's no alternative. So you have to do it. If you're addicted to it or anything else, and especially with cigarettes and things that don't even come close to what it takes to get off opiates and narcotics like OxyCodone. Then you should definitely take this as inspiration and a push to continue and try, and you'll regain trust, because you'll regain self-trust. You're going to trust yourself again, because many of you probably try to quit many times, and after a while you're like, well, I tried before, and then I managed to push through for a few days, but then I stopped, so why should I trust myself now? And you play all those games with you and all kinds of excuses, but you just got to do it all the way, and you got to remember what I went through, and you got to remember that, I mean, at the end of it, you're going to become stronger than you can even imagine. Because I remember back when I was hooked on it, I looked at people, even who worked at the McDonald's or had like, regular shitty jobs every day. And I was looking at them and thinking, they're so lucky, they're healthy, they can just breathe oxygen normally, they go to sleep, they sleep normally, they laugh, they smile, they have, they're positive, they're optimistic about life. And I was feeling so down that, I mean, please, I don't want to be a millionaire, I don't want fast cars, I don't want anything, I just want to be normal, that's how you feel. But then once you regain normality, you're stronger than anyone around you. That's how I perceived it, because you really appreciate life. You don't take for granted anything. You appreciate the air that you're breathing. You appreciate waking up in the morning and feeling good. You appreciate just walking outside, being in the sun, the taste of food. Everything is so beautiful. Everything's so good all of a sudden after you go through this nightmare. And if you remember, you remind yourself what you've been through, then nothing can break you. Not that I'm saying that you should go through it so you can become strong, right? But I mean, it's just the way it happened in my case, because when I quit, and after a while, and it took a very long time, and then I became dedicated to sport, and I went and got hired to different jobs, and I built myself up and built my confidence, and then I started working from home, and I had all kinds of ideas, because all of a sudden you're healthy, your mind is working better, your cognitive abilities you're sharper, you're smarter, you're more focused, and you can do a bunch of things. So you don't need to think about the future because that will make you stressed. Just think step by step, and as long as you complete each step, you're gonna feel happy. And if you do it right and go through all the process, then you're gonna reach your final goals a lot faster. So you gotta just live in the present. You gotta persevere if you're going through any type of addiction, or if you know that you need to start, this process, because many of us are addicted to all kinds of things, and you can always say, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it in a week, but it needs to come from you. It needs to come from the inside, not just by getting some advice or something. But hopefully, since my situation was so insane and so unusual, you can be inspired by it. And because if anything, I hope that this video reaches the right people, and they'll be able to make the best out of it and relate to it in one way or another, right? So it really depends on what you're addicted to, what kind of struggles you're going through. But you gotta, it all comes down to not taking for granted the little things that you have in life, the little things that make you smile. And that's what I learned in this process. And it made me stronger than ever. So when you think about Michael Freeman, and he's driving all these cars and he's good and he's well off, then remember that it wasn't always like it. I had to build myself from nothing, and even less than nothing. I was like in such a bad place that, it's worse than having just nothing. It's being overwhelmed emotionally, physically, mentally, having to recover and just to become normal again, so you can start from nothing. So it's never too late. You can always change. You can always transform your life in so many ways. And in my next videos, I'm gonna share all kinds of interesting videos, and I encourage you to stay tuned, because I'm gonna try to inspire, try to motivate. I'm gonna present some new projects that can really benefit you if you're open-minded. And I'm all into it now, my heart, my mind, and it's gonna get really interesting. I'm probably gonna post more videos in about 2-3 weeks from now, and then I'm gonna post every day almost. I can't commit to every day, but I'm gonna post very frequently, and because I'm working on this project that I'm gonna launch, and it's gonna be of a lot of value to pretty much everyone who is interested in a new opportunity. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.